All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Giant Hot Takes podcast, your home for the hottest takes about the San Francisco Giants. I'm your host, Jack, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jake. We've been kind of out of commission for a minute. Things got a little crazy with school and stuff, but we're back. You'll see us a lot more often here in the off-season talking about a lot of stuff. Jake, how we doing today?
Doing pretty solid, Definitely going to start getting a little more active here now that the season's right around the corner. Lots of free agency, big moves we've been seeing lately. Lots still coming up with guys like Roki Sasaki, Max Fried, Corbin Burns, all these guys that still haven't gotten signed yet. So there's a lot of big things that are still to come that we're definitely going to start connecting to you guys with.
And just starting off with the offseason, we haven't filmed since our boy Farhan Zaidi has been fired. Praise God that he's fired. Hired Buster Posey. Before we get into Buster's first big move, what was your thoughts when Buster got hired?
I was so happy. Who doesn't want a guy like Buster in the locker room and making the decisions? He ran this program for so much time, brought us so much success. He's just the perfect leader that could take this role. Farhan's a spy for the Dodgers. He always has been. He's back with them again, as you guys probably have seen that now. But yeah, Buster Posey's a big positive change for this squad, and I really think it's going to help us in the long run.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. I really appreciated in Buster's introductory press conference, quote that really stuck with me was, we're in the memory-making business. And to start off with memory makings, last night, yesterday, sitting in bed, Willy Adames signs with the Giants, 7 years, $182 million, pending a physical. Do have to throw that asterisk in there. What's your thoughts, initial thoughts before we dive deep into Willy Adames?
I love the guy, man. He was so solid last year and the year before. His glove could use some work, but, we need to move on from that glove stuff and start worrying about the hitters because we haven't had a really big hitter in quite some time now. With Matt Chapman just signing a big deal, these two guys on the left side of the infield are going to be a crucial part of our team for these upcoming years, both signing for a long-term deal. Willy Adames, he's got an electric bat and he's a shortstop. What more could you ask for? I think he's going to be a great fit with the squad. Our stadium doesn't play as well as a lot of others for the power hitters, but I think he's going to work in just fine. I think it's a big, big step ahead of guys like Nick Ahmed and Casey Schmidt, who've been playing shortstop for some time. And, I think it's a huge step in the right direction. A great start from Buster Posey.
Oh, yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I'm just sitting here just smiling. I tweeted out 8/27/24. I tweeted it out also. Said, really hope Farhan has a nice seat and realizes Willy Adames would be a fantastic San Francisco Giants player next year. We got him. 7 years, 182, 26 AAV per year. Pretty reasonable deal. Last year, he was easily the top position player, not named Juan Soto. We'll talk about Juan a little later. But Adames hits .251 last year, .331 on-base percentage, 32 bombs. His last 4 years, he's surpassed 20 home runs, hit 31 and 22, hit 24 and 23. Fantastic player. Glove regressed a little bit in 2024, but throughout his career, he's been average to above average. Just lost out on a gold glove in 2022 to Dansby Swanson. I just could not be more thrilled about this guy. I think it was a perfect fit. Chapman and Adames on the left side of the infield for the next 6 years. Is that one of the best left sides in the entire MLB?
Yeah, I think so. With platinum glove defense from Chapman, big leader. He's fitting in just great with the squad. Adames too. They're gonna be a lethal duo, man. With the bat, I'm sure he's gonna get some work with the glove. We've always kind of been known for our defensive left side of the infield. So I think that he's going to fit in just perfectly fine. He's a shortstop who's had over 100 RBIs in the last season. We haven't had a guy hit 100 RBIs in I don't know how many seasons. So that's a big piece for this team. And another thing that's really good about this guy is he knows how to hit with runners in scoring position. That's something we struggled with a lot of the time last year. Big strikeout team. He hits well with runners in scoring position, and that is definitely something we're going to need.
Yeah, no, I was going to mention that. I don't have the exact stats, but I saw a tweet from somebody that Adames was like a top three hitter in baseball with runners in scoring position. He had 181 at-bats, 53 hits, hit .293, hit 18 home runs with runners in scoring position. If you told me that last year, I'd be shocked. I don't know that we had 18 hits with runners in scoring position last year.
Probably didn't.
So, yeah, it's a breath of fresh air. We got two guys on the left side of the infield that should be expected to hit around 30 home runs, definitely above 25. So just revitalize kind of this boring Giants team, like Willie almost fought Jesse Winker in the wild card round. He's fun. He's a fun guy. A personality the Giants don't have on this team. I'm just through the roof about this. Our work's not done. Looks like Fitzgerald's going to move to second. What do you like about Fitz at second? I mean, I think this infield's got skyrocket potential.
I mean, Fitz, he doesn't have the greatest glove, so moving him over to second base, I think, is a great option. It does leave a little bit of worries about Ha-Seong Kim as of right now. I'd love to see that guy pair up with Jung-Hoo Lee, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes. But Fitzgerald, he showed flashes of an electric bat last year. Had that hot streak where he was hitting bombs left and right. Out of a speedy shortstop and utility guy, he's a dude that can really hustle on the field and get the job done, as we saw last year. Had a lot of hard hit balls. Played a big part at the end of our season.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. Fitz had a really good year. He's probably due to regress a little bit, but he can steal bags. Adames stole 20 bags last year. Chapman's got sneaky speed. I think he stole around 20. So hopefully we steal some bags if Melvin lets us. Just very positive development in the Giants. Largest contract ever in Giants history, surpassing Buster Posey's. I think it was around 160. Johnny Cueto was right around 150. So just nice that we're willing to spend the money now. Kicking around the rest of the league. Before this, Blake Snell signed with the Dodgers. 5 years, $182 million. What's your thoughts on Snell's career as a Giant before you dive into that?
I was really liking where he was at towards the end of the season. I was pretty confident that, he probably wasn't going to go to the Dodgers. I wasn't thinking he'd want to join in with that rotation where he's not going to be looked upon as the absolute ace of the team with all these other guys that they're paying. He pitched well in San Francisco in a pitcher-friendly ballpark towards the end of the year. I thought if we re-signed him early, we could get him working in spring training, and hopefully he would have had a good start to the year, unlike last year. But, I'm a little disappointed joining the super team with a bunch of deferred money under your contract. It's kind of frowned upon against a lot of fan bases moving to this team. Knowing that you yourself can bring a team into playoff contention when you're on. So just going to this team really just darkens the mood for just about everybody else.
No, yeah, I think it's a complete sellout move. If you're Blake Snell right here, you have a horrid start to your career in San Francisco. We were at his debut. Awful first half. Second half, I think he was the best player in the league down the stretch, which makes it even harder to go to the Dodgers. And if you're a guy like Snell and you're going to the Dodgers, you might as well cut your balls off, because I don't know what you think yourself as a man going to the defending champs with deferred contract and your money. I hope the economy crashes in 5 to 6 years, just so these guys like Snell and Ohtani get screwed over. In terms of his career as a Giant, he was an okay Giant. ERA 3.12, struck out 145. He was fun to watch, man. I'm not going to deny that. But he's not a guy that could have carried us to the playoffs, as we saw. You can't miss a full half of baseball and expect to come back and carry us down the stretch. Offense was brutal, but he wasn't a guy that was going to get us over the top. So it sucks losing him, but I think we can find some other guys to fill the pieces. Blockbuster move for the Dodgers last night, signing Michael Conforto, 1 year, $17 million. What's your initial thoughts on that? Can't believe Michael Conforto is no longer a Giant.
That's unbelievable. $17 million for a washed-up, no-defense Michael Conforto who strikes out 90% of the time. He can't even hit righties. He's better against lefties, but he is a lefty, so there's really no point in that whatsoever. There's nothing going to get better with him. He's only getting older. He's only getting slower. His defense is only getting worse. He just really sucks, man. $17 million for a guy that probably should be a free agent or playing somewhere in AAA. It's just kind of insane to me. But you know how the Dodgers are with getting a lot of veterans and turning their careers around and making them MVP caliber players. They always do it. There's something they're doing that nobody knows about and the league won't say anything about because, I don't know, the league's just a bunch of Dodgers fans. So, yeah, that's a lot of money for a player that sucks so bad. Thank God they got him and we didn't. Huge step in the wrong direction for Farhan's start with the Dodgers.
Yeah, no, I was sitting in bed just oh my gosh, they gave $17 million for Conforto. Forgot that Farhan was part of the Dodgers. Farhan's an insider trader. I don't really know what he is, but he's not focused on putting the best baseball team out there. Conforto must
never
have
was.
like some pictures or some John Gruden-esque emails of Farhan to pay him $17 million, because that is like unbelievable. I'd like to shout out Scott Boras for that deal, because that is maybe better work than his Juan Soto deal. $17 million for Conforto is just shocking. I hope he gets a nice steak dinner. Speaking of Juan Soto, he signs with the Mets last night. 15 years, $765 million, zero deferred money, $51 million a year with options to get up to $55 a year. Giants weren't really in this. What's your thoughts on Soto to the Mets?
You know, that is so much money that, like, if they don't get a couple rings out of this, then it's just not going to be worth it. I mean, that kind of money, you can't really buy any player. Like, there's no player worth that much money. That really just tanks your entire team and puts everything in his hands. I mean, you're not going to be able to pay guys paying that much money to one singular player. And another thing that I really don't like about this is that, you know, he's not really known for his defense. It's just purely his bat and his eye. And as he gets older, his defense is only going to regress, and he's going to move toward a DH at some point later in his career. And when you sign a guy till he's, you know, that old, he's going to be a DH for the last 5 years of his career, I guarantee it. So paying that kind of money for a DH towards the back end of his career is just really, really iffy to me. But as of right now, that money's good, but I mean, they probably should have front-loaded it, because he's going to really, really go downhill.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, he's 26 right now, got a chance to be one of the all-time greats. Paying him $51 a year, he'll be good for the next 8 years to like age 35, and I agree with Jake. I mean, you're paying $55 million a year for 7 years for a DH. Probably he's going to regress quite a bit in his late years. Good for them. They got to get 2 or 3 rings in the next 8 years, which for anybody is kind of a steep task. Steve Cohen doesn't really care. But yeah, the rest of that lineup's not that frightening. They have Lindor. They're going to lose Alonso, I assume. They lost Castillo to the A's, of all people. Shocking that Castillo signed with the A's. I think it was the highest contract in A's history, like $70 million. But I don't know. Just sitting here as a Giants fan, like, I'm not really that concerned about the Mets in terms of the future. Are you?
I mean, I don't know. With this big signing, I think they could be a huge dark horse team this next year. I mean, Mark Vientos really showing flashes of a superstar in the postseason. If he can keep that up, start of the next year, and really build off that, I think he could be an all-star and really lead that team alongside Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor. I mean, they have 2 MVP caliber players in their offense hitting 1 and 2. I mean, anything can happen, man. I mean, the pitching, who knows how that's going to go if they re-sign Manaea or trade him or do whatever. But I think that the Mets can be a serious threat. But with the amount of money they're giving Soto, there's not really much more they can do to build.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And they have just a fan base behind them. Frank the Tank. I mean, hard to not win ball games with that guy streaming on Barstool. Going into just some rumors around the league for the Giants. Saw an article, pretty credible source. I think it was Pavlovich or Susan Slusser. So there's quite a bit of traction for Camilo Doval around the league, and his trade value's up right now. Posey just at his winter meeting press conference just denied those rumors. Do you buy into Doval being a good trade piece, and would you be interested in moving him?
I definitely think we should do that. I mean, he's got a lot of. I think you can get a lot for him just because of the fact that he's a young closer with a ceiling that could literally be the best closer in the entire league, as we saw in the 2023 season. I mean, he was, I think, second or third in saves, along with the most gross stuff in the league with that arm angle. I mean, control's an issue for him, but I mean, those are things that you can always fix down the stretch with relievers. Posey's probably holding on to him, probably wants to see a little bit more of what he's got, see really what he does next year. I mean, he could potentially move back in, but with a guy like Ryan Walker, who's been really just dominating that closing spot, I really find it hard to believe that he'd take over anytime soon. So, yeah, I mean, I think moving Doval would be a good move, but Posey's the genius here. Whatever he thinks is probably going to end up being the right decision down the line.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just struggle to envision Doval in a role where he's pitching the 7th inning. So if he can't really get back to elite closing stuff and you move Walker to the 7th, then I don't know why you'd keep him. I also don't really want to move Walker. He was electric down the stretch. So that'll be interesting to monitor. That should go down around winter meetings. We'll know pretty soon if he's going to be part of the 2025 Giants. Corbin Burns, not B-Y-R-N-E-S like John Heyman likes to say. I'll give my I'll give my once a podcast fuck you, John Heyman, right now. Corbin Burns has been linked to the Giants pretty heavily. What's your initial thoughts on Corbin Burns as, I think, a frontline ace, potentially better than Blake Snell, to just lock down this rotation for the next couple of years?
I mean, yeah, we've seen his stuff these past couple of years, and he's been arguably the best in the game. I mean, he's a guy with elite stuff, throws the ball hard, and he can find the zone. I mean, as 98th percentile pitching run value, I mean, you're not going to get much better than that out of a guy like him. I mean, he's 30 years old. He's been in the league for some time. He's a veteran. He knows how to pitch around guys. He's seen guys. I think he's a starter you could really use in this rotation alongside Webb. That 1-2 punch will be very filthy, probably even filthier than Snell and Webb were down the stretch. I mean, this guy, his ceiling is, the sky's the limit, man. I mean, going and getting a guy like him would be just the thing we need for this rotation, considering the fact that we were a lefty-heavy rotation last year, and moving Snell out of the mix, I think getting a right-handed guy would even things back out to a 2-3.
Yeah, no, it would be awesome. Corbin Burns went to St. Mary's College up there in Moraga, so the local guy kind of fits the Giants' whole thing of having like homegrown or like local guys, so he'd be awesome. Saw stat he's pitched like 21 more starts than Snell in the last 3 years. He's a workhorse, Logan Webb-esque. Be awesome to pair with Webb. I'd love to see it. It's going to be pricey, but I mean, why the hell not keep spending money? It's not our money. We have a top.
Snell, buy him.
Yeah, we have a top five. Our organization's worth top 5 in valuation, so go spend the money. Go into hitters. Pete Alonso's an interesting name. I don't know that I'm completely sold. 2024 season, hit 240, 34 home runs. Year before that, hit 217, 46 home runs. He's gone above 30 home runs in pretty much every season besides 2020, which was a shortened season. What was your thoughts be on Pete Alonso? You know, not a high average guy, but just kind of a thumper that'll hit the ball out of the park.
I mean, even at the Giants Stadium, I could see this guy hitting 30 bombs. He's kind of just a guaranteed 30 home runs, regardless of, you know, how much of a slump he may be in. He's never going to hit you a great average. I mean, he plays some good defense at first. He's not really a hustle guy, but he's one of those guys that can really come up clutch in a moment, as we saw last year. I think Pete Alonso, I think he could fit this roster pretty well, even though our field's kind of a pitcher-friendly park. I still think he can knock it out. I mean, this guy's got as much power as anybody. We've still been looking for that power bat for this time. Soler didn't really work out well, kind of regressed last year a lot. Moved on to the Angels. He's kind of getting passed around a lot. Who knows what's next for him? But I think Pete Alonso wouldn't be a bad move at all. But I just don't think you should give up too much for him, considering the fact that we got Bryce Eldridge probably coming up at some point this next year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not really sold on Alonso. I would not complain just because he's hit 53 home runs in a season. Eldridge he's tracking to be our opening day starter in 2026, so an older guy like Christian Walker or just a bridge player like Goldschmidt maybe makes a little more sense. Going back to the infield, to have Fitz be a super utility guy, you know, there's been just a crud load of rumors of Ha-Seong Kim already being signed to the Giants. Is he signed? Is he not? Ha-Seong got hurt this last year. Labrum, I believe, don't quote me on that, was hitting 233, 11 bombs, and 400 at-bats. He's got a hell of a glove at shortstop, second, third. You can kind of play him wherever. 2023 hit 260, 351 on-base percentage, 17 bombs. Really good year from a guy with a gold glove. What would your thoughts be on Ha-Seong and Jung-Hoo Lee, just a reunion?
I mean, they both got grit. I mean, they can both steal bags. Ha-Seong Kim steals bags in an elite fashion. He's a little bit strikeout prone, but with the glove and his ability to get from first to second base on almost every time he gets on base is just really an important key. Because if we got a guy like Willy Adames that can hit with runners in scoring position, that's a big piece to get runs early. So I think that Ha-Seong Kim would be a great move for us. Him and Jung-Hoo Lee team back up like they did. I don't think you can't go wrong with that. I mean, he's not a huge deal. He's not targeted by every team, kind of like Juan Soto was and all that stuff. So I think that he'd just be a good, solid pickup for the team. He could really be a glue guy for us.
No, yeah, I agreed. Probably looking at like 4 years, $80 million, right around $20 million a year, maybe a little less. He'd be a really fun player. You know, you got Jung-Hoo Lee leading off, you get the Jung-Hoo Lee, and then you get the Ha-Seong Kim chant. Be electric. Our stadium would be packed because, as we know, just seeing with the Jung-Hoo Lee before the injury, Korean fans and all the Asian fans really show up for their players. So that would be fun. Kind of last guy I had on the list was Tian Teoscar Hernandez. Had a good year for the Dodgers, more of a DH option. We don't have a true DH. Last year hit 272 for LA, 33 bombs. 2023 hit 26 bombs. 2022 hit 25 bombs. 2021 hit 32 bombs. So he's got a storied history of power. What's your thoughts on Teoscar? Do you think he'd be a good fit?
Yeah, I think he'd fit great. I mean, losing a guy like Conforto who sucks, this would be a massive upgrade from that. I mean, he's still a little strikeout heavy, but he's everything that Conforto has, but 10 times better. He can come up in clutch moments. He hits the ball far. He can hit the off speed. He can hit the fastball. I mean, he's really an energetic guy. Who wouldn't want a guy like him on your team? I mean, like swiping him from the Dodgers after winning a World Series would just make me so happy. It would just rub it in their face a little bit. A guy like Teoscar, I mean, who wouldn't want him? I think he'd be a great fit on this offense.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And just out of those guys, all kind of pipe dream guys, if you had to have like a perfect offseason, you could pick 2 of those guys. Who would you pick to just completely fit in? Or would you add somebody else who's not on this list?
I mean, I feel like Corbin Burnes and Ha-Seong Kim are the 2 that just kind of fit our team the most. Losing a big star in Blake Snell kind of needs some replacement there in the rotation, even with some big prospects coming up. I think we need to bridge into them a little bit more. We can't really rely on them as our 2 and 3 guys at this point. Ha-Seong Kim, I mean, I think he just fits perfect with this team. We're known to be a defensive team. He can steal bags. It's something we haven't really been doing these past couple years, and I think we should really start working on that with a guy like Fitz, who's also fast, Chapman, who can steal bags. We got Adames, who can steal bags. If we can start kind of getting a little bit gritty for the stolen bases, I think that'll be a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to go with Corbin Burnes and Ha-Seong Kim are probably the 2 most important pieces for this offense.
Yeah, no, I agree. Our biggest gripe with Melvin last year, we talked about it a lot. We just refused to steal bags. You know, Estrada stole a lot of bags the year before. We just didn't steal last year. And you get a guy at the top of the order, Jung's pretty quick. Adames can steal a bag. Chapman can steal a bag. You got a guy like Ha-Seong Kim. Fitz can already steal. I mean, that's 5 legitimate stolen base threat guys to get into scoring position for a guy like Willy Adames. So Ha-Seong would be an awesome fit. I don't know that the guy's Burnes. I'd love Burnes. I'd be curious to see if we're willing to spend that much money on a guy like Burnes. But I do think we need another probably top of the rotation pitcher, whether it be Fried or Burnes. Or I wouldn't hate a Walker Buehler. So I definitely think we need one more arm. Ha-Seong Kim would be cool. There's a lot of different ways we can go with this offseason. Winter meetings started today, wrap up, I think, by the end of the week. So we'll have another podcast for you next week, hopefully dropping Monday. It'll be interesting to watch. I'm pretty excited. How about you?
Yeah, no, I'm stoked. I mean, there's a lot, like every offseason, there's always so many things we think are going to happen that don't end up happening. But, I mean, we're already off on a great start. So we'll hope this continues. Hopefully we get a couple more big names. If not, so be it. I think what we got going right now is pretty solid. So hopefully we can just add on, make it even better.
Yeah, no, I agree. We got our guy, man. Didn't get outbid. We got Willy Adames. It's a good day to be a Giants fan. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Please make sure you like and subscribe to this video. Follow us on Twitter at GiantHot_takes. It's popping on there lately. Thank you. We appreciate you for tuning in to the Giant Hot Take podcast. I'm Jack.
And I'm Jake.
We'll catch you next time.